So hi, I'm Dan Bramborg. I'm General Manager of SPS Solar. We just put a module, an inverter in our personal camper, and just wanted to give you a show of what we've got here. The RV camper systems are very similar to small home cabin systems in that we're looking at a couple modules and just a basic system that really has some great advantages. Come on, let's give you a tour of what we've got here. Okay, so here I am on the roof of my camper where we have installed a 240 watt module, and basically this takes care of all the needs of this camper through summer, spring, fall months. We have the panel here mounted with the structural members of the camper, and we run the wire down the chase for the propane refrigerator. The newer units are set up where they're pre-wired. Many newer RVs are wired for solar when they come out of the factory. But the refrigerator chase is a pretty good way to go. One of the most important things is shading here. We don't want anything getting in the way that could shade the module. We also want to have the module a couple inches off the surface so it cools itself as much as it can. Because as the heat comes up, the voltage goes down on it, so we don't want that smack close to the camper surface. Even a shade from a hand that covers like that is going to have a substantial negative effect on this module. So we want to make sure we're as far away from any shading obstacles as possible. Let's see. Oh, flat. We're flat here, and that's the best way because we don't know exactly how we're going to park. A little bit of a grade is nice because then when we get a rain, it self-cleans. If it's totally flat, we're going to build up more dust and such. Usually there's some angles going on, so it works pretty well. So why don't we go down and we'll show you the other parts of the system and get inside the camper. Okay, so here's the battery bank. So we're coming off the solar panel above. We go through a controller that keeps the batteries from being overcharged by the controller, and then we just come into an existing battery bank. And sometimes we'll embellish that and increase the number of batteries for longer periods of dry camping. So we've got a 12-volt system. We've got two 12-volt batteries in parallel here, so we increase our ampere hour storage and keep our voltage the same, 12 volts. This is a nice vented enclosure. We always want to have venting around our batteries because they do put off hydrogen gas. And then the first thing we do is come up to a fuse to fuse the system before we take the power anywhere else. So we travel from our fuse off our batteries to our inverter, and this, not all rigs or homes have inverters, but that provides 120 volt AC to the loads and takes the place of a generator. So we can see we've got it hung there. You can mount it in all kinds of different directions, but that gives us not only a 12 volt DC but also 120 volt AC and a sine wave unit, which is a lot less issues. So you notice we've hidden the inverter and the batteries under the bench, so they're located, of course, as low as we can get them for center of gravity is advantageous. So we'll close that back up. So we're running all the normal 12 volt DC loads. An RV camper is really fun to add solar to because we've already got our 12 volt batteries, we've got our 12 volt loads. All we need to do in real basic situations is just add a solar module and a controller, and we're there. The next step, of course, is put an inverter in if you want AC power, but a lot of folks will work well with 12 volt DC loads. So the loads or the electrical appliances in the RV, we've got the 12 volt loads, of course, and so we can recharge our cameras, our cell phones and such with 12 volt charging cords. Here in this camera, since we have the inverter, we can also run microwave, which is our biggest AC load. We had this in here a little bit ago. We were just testing this. so we can run the AC loads, not the largest loads, but in this case the microwave is the largest load. And we've got a monitor that comes with the microwave which shows us voltage and the amps that the inverter would be taking. This is very handy. It's pretty much a necessity to have a window into your system to be able to look at the voltage and see what the state of charge is. Right now we're doing really well. We've got good sun, so we could be using a lot of power. And then we've got a monitor here which also gives us voltage of our system, also shows us the amperage coming in from our solar array. So at minimum have a voltage in your batteries, maximum have some idea of your amperage flow in and out. Refrigerators, propane, standard units. We're not going to run those on DC even though they can, so that's going to stay on propane. You know, we have an area for a generator here, but we just don't need it with a solar panel. So we've got, of course, 12 volt DC radio music system. You know, we've got lights, DC 12 volt DC lights. Of course, I like to stay connected with the computer, and we can run this off the inverter. And we also have a Wi-Fi system, so we can connect with a cell phone signal. We can have internet access on the road. And all of these loads are very similar to cabin systems. Whether we stay at a 12 volt DC system with our cabin, or we add an inverter and go to 120 volt. Very similar. A couple of modules, maybe just one, 2 to 4 batteries, and an inverter. Handle a lot of loads and bring up the comfort in a vacation cabin or a small house. So we've been very pleased with the camper and the addition of the solar. It just makes life a lot easier, a lot more comfortable. The little things make a difference. Thanks for taking a look at this, and come on down to our showroom on Orange Street or give us a call. We'd love to show you around and have any more questions.